Good evening and welcome to the San Bruno City Council meeting of March 12, 2013. I'd like to thank the Garden Club for the floral arrangement they always provide for our meetings. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Salazar.
Here.
Vice Mayor O'Connell.
Here.
Mayor Ruane.
Here.
Councilmember Medina.
Here.
Councilmember Rivera.
Here.
And Mark Zapparano, City Attorney, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item number 3, announcements. The annual pancake breakfast and Easter egg hunt will be held March 23rd, Saturday morning, 9 to 11 a.m. at San Bruno City Park. The Easter egg hunt begins promptly at 11 a.m. Hopefully we get this kind of weather, so it should be a lot of
Not
fun.
last year's weather, please.
And item number 4, presentations. We do have a presentation this evening. We're going to present a proclamation to the Bay Area Chapter Volunteers of the American Red Cross, recognizing American Red Cross Month 2013. And I know Tricia Clement is going to receive this, and I'll read just a few of these whereases because it's rather lengthy. Declaring March as American Red Cross Month, whereas in San Bruno, the American Red Cross Bay Area Chapter works tirelessly through its nearly 1,000 volunteers to support us when disaster strikes, and we know that firsthand. When someone needs life-saving blood or the comfort of a helping hand, it provides 24-hour support to members of the military, veterans and their families. It provides training in CPR, aquatic safety, first aid, and whereas the American Red Cross Bay Area Chapter helped over 1,066 people with temporary housing, clothing, food, and mental health counseling during the 392 local disasters last year alone. Trained over 50,843 people in life-saving CPR, first aid, and water safety preparedness education. The Bay Area Chapter provided emergency communications, counseling, financial assistance, and a caring presence to more than 770 local military families, and the Chapter supported 28 Bay Area hospitals, provided them with nearly 158,717 units of red cells, platelets, and plasma to patients in need. Now, therefore, I, Jim Ruane, Mayor of the City of San Bruno, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Constitution and laws of San Bruno, California, do hereby proclaim March 2013 as American Red Cross Month. I encourage all Americans to support this organization and its noble humanitarian efforts.
We've been busy. Thank you, sir. Certainly. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, council members, for the proclamation. In addition to the activities that you noted in the proclamation, as you know, we enjoy a nice partnership with the community and you here in San Bruno, and we are partnering to continue the San Bruno Fire Recovery Center here in your community. Additionally, locally, our chapter has helped over 350 individuals with local disasters such as flooding or fires. We've also deployed our volunteers elsewhere, 122 to Hurricane Katrina, 32 to Hurricane Isaac, and 18 to the wildfires in Colorado, as well as Tropical Storm Debbie. Just want to take a quick minute and tell you about a couple of the events that we will be hosting coming up. On May 30th, we have our Heroes Breakfast. This, of course, is where we at the Red Cross honor all of those local heroes that have been nominated by their community members. So we ask for your nominations, and of course, we extend the invitation for you to attend. We also have the Save a Life Saturday coming up on June 1st. Location is still to be determined, but we will be providing hands-on training for CPR as well as emergency preparedness courses. That, of course, is free to members of the community, and you can check that out at the redcrossbayarea.org website. Thank you again for the proclamation and your time.
Thank you very much. Item number 5, review the agenda. Okay, item number 6, approval of the minutes of the regular City Council meeting of February 26, 2013. Any errors, corrections, omissions? Seeing none, they'll be approved as submitted. Item number 7, consent calendar. All items are considered routine or implemented earlier council action and may be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion unless requested by a council member, citizen, or staff. Any the items on the consent calendar, or motion to approve?
Motion to accept. Second.
Motion is second on the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Item number 8, public hearings. We don't have any public hearings this evening. Item number 9, public comment on items not on the agenda. It is the council's policy to refer matters raised in this forum to staff for investigation and/or action where appropriate. The Brown Act prohibits the council from discussing or acting upon any matter not agendized pursuant to state law. Would anyone like to address the council under public comment?
John Barrelier, North San Anselmo. I'm here to talk about the firemen being on the clock while shopping. Waiver. I, the undersigned, do affix my signature to this, and in doing so, absolve all members of San Bruno City Government and members of the San Bruno Fire Department of any and all responsibility, civil and criminal, in the possible injury or death of any member of my family due to a delay in response in time due to the firefighters shopping when a fire alarm sounds. I have complete faith that they've taken into consideration and explored fully, 1, professional time trials. This record is on file, of course. From Lenardi's and Lucky's Market to various possible locations of fires in the city, and found response times taking less than or equal to as it would have been from the fire station. 2, a public safety engineer. This record is on file, of course. It's the civilian's Cal OSHA. A public safety engineer has been employed and found the same to be true. 3, that local law schools, such as Hastings, have been presented with this unlikely event of an emergency while firefighters shop and determine possible liability. I mean, it's never happened, right? And if it has happened, it didn't cost extra minutes in response from the market, did it? And you do have a log to historically track that, don't you? After all, it could only take a few extra minutes, true? And finally, you have consulted, and you have a record of this, I'm sure, the hundreds of home insurance companies and informed them of the practice of firefighters shopping on duty. And they've agreed with you that response time is not affected. Therefore, it won't negatively affect fire premiums, right? Come to think of it, I've read this waiver that I've just written, and I think that'd be foolish of me to sign it, because although firefighters have to eat, there are other ways to arrange that. I think they're paid not just to fight fires and to rescue, but to be 100% ready at all times. When they're shopping, my family could be in jeopardy. The logistics of shopping and getting to the emergency on time and fully equipped strain common sense. My feeling is that there could be 1 to 3 minutes late and or short 1 truck and 3 men.
Thank you. Anyone else like to address the council? All right, we'll go right into item number 10, conduct of business. A, adopt a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute the amended water supply agreement with the city and county of San Francisco.
Honorable Mayor, Council members, good evening. The city of San Bruno is a water service provider also to our residents. Half of the water comes from the production of our own wells, and half of the water comes from the regional system from the Hetch Hetchy Reservoir. In 2009, you approved and signed the water supply agreement with San Francisco Public Utility Commission. In 2012, during the election cycle, a group named Restore Hetch Hetchy placed on initiative for San Francisco voters to require the development of the plan to drain the Hetch Hetchy Reservoir and to restore the reservoir to the initial state. This initiative failed, but this group made the commitment to work until their goal is not achieved. 2/3 of this reservoir provides water to the wholesale customers, 26 agencies, including San Bruno, and 1/3 of that water serves the city, the county of San Francisco. In order to prevent any impact to the regional water supply without proper involvement on the part of those agencies, BASCA, representing those agencies, negotiated an amendment to the contract with SFPUC. This amendment would ensure that no modification will be implemented to the basin without proper engagement and agreement on the part of all of the impacted agencies. SFPUC already approved this amendment to the contract in their meeting in January, and this amendment is before you tonight, and my recommendation is for you to authorize the city manager to execute this amendment of the contract for the water supply.
Thank you. Any questions of Clara? Action by the council?
I'd like to introduce the resolution.
Vice Mayor O'Connell.
Aye.
Councilmember Medina.
Aye.
Councilmember Rivera.
Aye.
Councilmember Salazar.
Aye.
Mayor Ruane.
Aye. Item 10B, adopt a resolution adopting the 2012 updated water system master plan.
I have here with me tonight the project manager for this project, who is Polly Boyseven from West Yost, and she will help me with all of the question what you might have. To keep on the same subject, like the subject before, as a water provider to our resident is very important for us to plan for the long-term sustainability of our service to our residents. Previously, you approved the urban water management plan and the groundwater management plan, which assess the long-term demand until 2035 for water resources, and also how those resources can be met. What you have in front of you tonight is the plan to assess the system need, the hard infrastructure need to deliver this water to our users, and also the hard infrastructure to produce half of that water delivered to our customers. Back in 2001, you had the foresight to desire the development of the first water system master plan, and that was developed in 2001. This plan is an update of that plan developed in 2001. What is the big difference between this plan and the plan back in 2001 is the level of information and knowledge of our system on which this plan development is rely on. The plan assesses the state of the system from a capacity and from a condition point of view. Based on that assessment, develop recommendation for system updates and rehabilitation and replacement. Based on those recommendations, a prioritized capital improvement plan was developed, which includes for the first 5 years a 30 million needs, and for the first 10 year, a 84 million need. The detailed plan was presented to the subcommittee and also was presented to all of you a month ago. The same recommendations and need was included in our 10-year financial plan on which the rate study was based off. This plan will become the framework which can be used for you during the yearly reassessment of the need of the system. I am here to answer any question, and also Polly will help me with any question what you might have.
Any questions of staff?
Okay.
We've been through this a number of times. Any action? Yeah, do you have a question? Go ahead.
No, I don't have a question. I was
Okay.
going to
Would
introduce
someone like to introduce
resolution.
the resolution?
Through the chair.
Yeah.
I think the study session was very clear, and I think answered all our questions. I think we've been well educated on when we raised the rates back in May, and then what those consequences are. And I think it's a tough but a necessary investment in the future of our community. So with that, I would like to introduce the resolution.
Councilmember Ibera.
Aye.
Councilmember Salazar.
Aye.
Vice Mayor O'Connell.
Aye.
Councilmember Medina.
Aye.
Mayor Ruane.
Aye. Item
Thank
10C, adopt a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute and file the articles of incorporation for the San Bruno Community Foundation.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. Tonight's report and resolution proposes a small but important step in forming the not-for-profit that's required by the settlement agreement with PG&E. So what we're asking you to review is to authorize the mayor to sign and file the articles of incorporation that are attached to the staff report. As you might recall, the City Council held two meetings, one back in October and then one just last month, February, at which time you discussed the name of the entity, its purpose, its mission statement, the composition of the governing board, and other details of its formation. You agreed on a name and a purpose for the entity, both of which are required for filing the articles. Let's quickly walk through the articles because there's a couple of important things we want to highlight. First of all, it's obvious that filing articles of incorporation requires an incorporator, and that incorporator can be either a natural person or an entity. And in this case, the incorporator is the City of San Bruno, and we're requesting that the mayor be authorized to sign the articles on behalf of the city as the entity that's incorporating the nonprofit. Second of all, you'll see that the entity is incorporated as required by federal law as a 501c3 tax-exempt organization. And when you do that, you have to have certain magic words in the articles of incorporation which say that it's organized for public benefit and or charitable purposes. So that's what the articles say as a result. You did agree on a name previously. Now's your last chance to change your mind before they're filed. The name is proposed to be the San Bruno Community Foundation. And as of this afternoon, we haven't found any other entity with that name, fortunately, although we're still pending confirmation from the Secretary of State that the name is available. So we were hoping to hear by 6:30 tonight. Apparently, the Secretary of State's office closed before we could find out. So if there's a problem, we'll let you know, but we don't anticipate that there will be one. The purpose of the entity, we did slightly revise the wording primarily for syntax purposes, but there's also the addition of one thing that I wanted to point out. So let me just read that off to you one last time here. The purpose would be to benefit the San Bruno community through enduring and significant contributions to and investments in charitable and community programs and publicly owned community facilities over the long term. What's different is the addition of the publicly owned that modifies community facilities, and that was recommended by our outside attorney, who's an expert in nonprofit law, and said you want to make sure that it says that so that you're not purchasing facilities that are owned by, that are for the private benefit of any individual. So they're publicly owned facilities. So that's why we included that word in there. One of the other things you've noticed is that the articles require the designation of what's called an agent for service of process, which is a fancy way of saying if the entity is sued, you have to have somebody who's going to receive that lawsuit, and we're proposing that be me, the city attorney. The entity can change that once it's formed. The entity isn't proposed to have any members. It's not like shareholders of a corporation. No one's going to be voting except for the board. The intent is to have it be governed by a board of directors that's appointed by the city council. And as you know, that action hasn't happened yet, but would be done at a future meeting. And last but not least, you'll note that the corporation can't engage in political activities and can't spend money for the private gain of individuals. And that is all consistent with the public and charitable purposes of the organization. So what's next? Assuming that you provide the authority to the mayor to sign and file the articles, staff has already started working on some draft bylaws, which we intend to bring back at a future study session. City council, of course, will also need to select board members for the entity. And once that's done, as you'll remember from my last presentation, the foundation can then schedule some of its initial meetings. And at those meetings, the foundation will want to appoint officers like president, vice president, so on and so forth, prepare other legal documents that are necessary, discuss a staffing plan, adopt a schedule of regular meetings, and then, of course, and most importantly, begin its work for the community. That concludes my report. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions of City Attorney? Ken?
Through the chair, so the last line that was added, publicly owned community facilities, and prior to that saying contributions to and investments in. So if we wanted to hypothetically help a privately owned entity, we'd probably have to go through like a third-party organization that would be helping them, for example?
So it's going to depend on the situation, but in most cases, as long as there's a public purpose and the purpose is charitable, the language is broad enough to provide you with that, or to provide the board with that discretion.
Because the only thing that comes to my mind is, heaven forbid, another disaster, is that you have privately owned buildings that are in dire need of some assistance. But I'm sure we can work a way where we can go through another organization that would help assist in that, say in a restoration or aid.
Right. In general, the distinction is that the funds of the corporation can't, what's called, inure to the benefit of private persons. And that doesn't mean that private persons can't get a benefit. It means that they can't get an improper benefit. So you can't be doling money out to a bunch of individuals without also having a public and or charitable purpose. That's the point.
Anything else for the City Attorney? Action by the council?
I'll introduce the resolution.
Vice Mayor O'Connell.
Aye.
Councilmember Medina.
Aye.
Councilmember Ibarra. Councilmember Salazar.
Aye.
Mayor Ruane.
Aye.
Thank you.
Item 11, reports of commissions, boards, and committees. There are no reports this evening. 12, comments from council members. Anything? None. Item 13, we are going into closed session. We have two items. Item A is a conference with real property negotiator pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.8. Various parcels are listed in the agenda. Agency negotiator, city manager, negotiating party, City of San Bruno and PG&E. Under negotiation, price and terms of payment. Item 13B, conference with real property negotiator pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.8. Property is the address of 105 Cabrillo Way. Agency negotiator, city manager, negotiating party, City of San Bruno, and under negotiation, price and terms of payment. Item 14, adjournment. Meeting is adjourned till our next council meeting, March 26th, right here at the Senior Center.